What's up, guys? I'm gonna make this one quick. I'm about to go into the gym, but I've been thinking about something a lot, and what I've been thinking about is criticism. So if you're living a different life, if you're trying to do more, if you don't want to be average, if you want to achieve something greater and you're living your life differently than other people, then you are going to face criticism, okay? You are going to be criticized. You are going to be an outcast. People are gonna talk down on you. People are going to try to bring you down to their level. But understand this, external criticism is a form of internal insecurity. People are going to project their insecurities outwards, and the way that they do that the best is by criticizing other people. The one way for somebody to feel better about themselves is to criticize you, to criticize somebody else, to try to bring them down, because it will make them feel better for a short period of time. And when people who are lazy or who don't do that many things criticize somebody who works hard and they just pick at every little thing that they do wrong, it makes them feel better. It makes them feel above them, right? So just know that throughout your journey, throughout whatever path you may be on, if that path is not what society tells you to do, you are going to face criticism. If you don't do exactly what the world wants you to do, you are going to face criticism. And I will tell you right now, doing what the world wants you to do is not the right answer. Over the weekend, we just had our family Christmas party, and my aunt gave me a picture, a canvas frame of the Desiderata. The Desiderata is basically like, I think it was a poem. I believe it's a poem. I read it a few times, but it's kind of just like to go through the world peacefully, but also follow your path, follow your heart, and understand that God is guiding you. It's just like follow your heart, do what you want to do, and just like stay on that path. That's basically what the Desiderata says, and it's a pretty long poem. But then my aunt also gave my brother a canvas of The Man in the Arena by Theodore Roosevelt. And I read it like 3 times, because the first time, I realized, I understood what it was about, kind of went over my head. Second time I read it, I understood it. Third time, I really read it. And then last night before bed, I read it 2 or 3 times. I need to read it some more. I do. I know that I do. But it really struck me in a positive way. So The Man in the Arena was a speech that Theodore Roosevelt gave. And I need to understand the backstory and the history on all of this. But it's very interesting. I feel like this just came into my life at the perfect time. And here's why. So my aunt gives this to my brother, right? Then the next day, I'm talking to my uncle, and my uncle told me that he just read a book on Theodore Roosevelt that he really liked, and it was all about like the man in the arena, where the speech came from and all this. And then yesterday, I'm listening to Nick Bear's podcast, his most recent podcast, and he quotes the man in the arena, saying that it's a speech that he loves, it's a quote that he loves, and I just feel like it was something that I needed to hear. And when I feel like I need to hear something or see something, then I come on here and I share it. So I'm going to very loosely paraphrase here. So The Man in the Arena is all about giving credit to the person who takes action. Theodore Roosevelt says something along these lines: it is not the critic who counts, but the person who is down there in the mud doing the thing, basically. The critic doesn't count. The criticism doesn't matter. It's so easy to sit up in the bleachers and criticize the players on the field, right? But really, all the credit goes to those players who are on the field. All the credit goes to the people who are actually taking action. The credit does not belong to the people who sit on the sidelines and watch because they gave up on their dreams. They're criticizing somebody who is after their dreams. They're criticizing somebody who achieved their dreams. And that is where that criticism comes from. It comes from envy. It comes from jealousy. It comes from that internal lack of confidence, that internal insecurity. External criticism comes from internal insecurity. Remember that. And sometimes it's hard to remember that. But when you're being criticized, sometimes you have to remember that, because it's the only way that you can try to understand where it's all coming from. Roosevelt says that the credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, the man whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood. He says that the credit belongs to the one who is enduring setback, enduring challenges, persevering through it, who is facing failure head on, who is persevering through any shortcoming that he may face. Because he has the balls, basically, to go out there and fail. He has the balls to go out there and face shortcomings and to make mistakes and to learn. And he has the courage to keep going, not to quit. So he deserves the credit, not the criticism. But so many people in the world want to criticize the man in the arena. They want to criticize the man who is actually taking action, who is actually bouncing back from failure, who chooses not to give up. And we criticize him because we don't have the courage to go out there and be the man in the arena. We criticize him because the man in the arena is our dreams. And when we see him succeeding, all we see are the dreams that we gave up on. And that is where criticism comes from. Bystanders, onlookers will criticize the man in the arena because the man in the arena represents the dreams, the vision, the goal, the life that they are not living. And the only reason why the man in the arena is living the life that the onlooker dreams of is because the man in the arena decided to take action. He decided to work harder. He decided not to give up when times got tough. He decided to endure the struggle, endure the challenges, endure the failures, and he decided to persevere and keep going. So take criticism with a grain of salt, because that criticism comes from internal insecurity. And when you live a different life, when you don't do what society and the world tell you to do, when you don't want to be average, when you are seeking something greater, when you are working towards something greater, you are going to face criticism. Everybody is going to try to tear you down and bring you back to their level because they are jealous, because they are envious, because you represent the life that they could have lived. You represent the life that they could have lived. That is why you will be criticized. That is why you will be laughed at. That is why you will be doubted. That is why you will lose friends, maybe even family. That is why people will talk behind your back. That is why people will judge you for every little thing. That is why people will pick at your character, because they do not understand and they are jealous, and you represent the life that they could have lived. All that to say, grab criticism and throw it out the window, because anybody who criticizes you is jealous. Anybody who criticizes you is not living the life that you want to live. Okay? So do not take advice and do not take criticism from anybody who is not living the life that you want to live. The only opinions that matter in this world are yours and God's. For me, I do also care about the opinions of my mom, my dad, and my brother. But other than that, I really just care about God's opinion. And I care about some family members' opinions too, but not to the point where I will let it dictate the decisions and the actions that I make in my life. Overall, the only people who are ever going to dictate the actions that I take in my life and who are going to dictate the path that I go on in my life will be myself and God. Only I can ultimately choose what path to follow. And only God can really guide me down that path and make things fall into place for me to go down that path. But anyways, before you criticize somebody, understand that they're actually taking action. Understand that they have the balls to get into the arena and do the thing. And if you are the one being criticized, which if you're watching this, you probably are the one being criticized, because on this channel, we are trying to live a different life. We are not trying to do what society tells us. We are not trying to be average. We are trying to be different. We are trying to work harder. Those are the values that we have. I like them a lot better. But if you're watching this, you probably are being criticized. If you're the one being criticized, sometimes you have to look in your mirror and you have to tell yourself, I am taking action. I am taking action. I am doing the thing. I am working harder. I am doing things that they can't even imagine. And their criticism comes from internal insecurity, an internal lack of confidence. My confidence comes from the work that I put in. My confidence comes from the actions that I take on a day-to-day basis. Every single day when I wake up, I go to battle. I go to battle with the man in the mirror, the man in the arena. I am at war every day, because every day is a new day, and every single day I have to prove to myself how bad I want it. Every single day I have to get better, because I am not hanging my hat on yesterday's accomplishment. I am not hanging my hat on a run that I did 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. No. Every single day I must show up. Every single day I must put in the work. Every single day is a new day. And what I did yesterday does not matter because all I have is today. All I have is now. And I must get better today. I need to get better today. That is where my confidence comes from. My confidence comes from my ability to put in work every single day. I do not care about how many miles I ran over the last 3-4 weeks. Yeah, it is kind of cool because I just started running and my miles are getting up there. It's awesome. But I don't care. All I care about is, okay, this week I'm at 13 miles. How can I get to 50? I'm not thinking about the 44 that I did last week or the 42 that I did 2 weeks ago or the 20-mile run that I did 2 months ago. No, I am thinking, how can I get to 50 miles this week? I'm at 13 right now. What do I have to do? How often do I have to show up? How hard do I have to work? That is where my confidence comes from. My confidence comes from my ability to show up and take action every single day. My confidence comes from the results, and it comes from the work that I do. Your lack of confidence is coming from the work that you are not doing. And criticism is coming from those people who lack confidence because they don't do the work. All right, that's all I got. that last part, hopefully that stuff made sense. I think about that often though. My confidence is built from the work that I put in. People lack confidence because they don't do the work that they have to do. They don't do what they say they're going to do. I do what I say I'm going to do. I keep my word. Okay, guys. So all that to say, do not let criticism knock you down because criticism is coming from people who are below you. You will never hear somebody above you criticizing you. Criticism only comes from those who are below you. It only comes from those who are jealous of you. It only comes because the criticizer sees you living a life that they are not living, that they wish that they could live, and that they look at you and they say, wow, that could have been me. But they'll never say that to your face. Instead, they'll try to tear you down. They'll criticize you. The credit does not belong to the critic. The credit belongs to the man who is in the arena. Keep taking action, guys. Keep working hard. Thank you for watching. Peace.